Welcome to Famora. Don't forget to subscribe for more shocking family drama and jaw-dropping stories. My fiancée shows a banker over me. Years later, she saw the mansion I built without her. I still remember the weight of the ring in my palm. It felt lighter than my heart. Omar stood in our tiny kitchen with his hands in his pockets, like he had lost something and wanted me to find it for him. The kettle screamed. I turned it off. He didn't look up. "My mother's right," he said finally. "You're sweet, but you don't fit." "Fit what?" I asked. My voice sounded like it came from the next room. "Rania understands my world," he said. "She works in investment banking. 300,000 base, more with bonus. We want the same life." I stared at the ring. "I wanted a life with you." He took a breath like he was diving underwater. "I want more than love. I want security." The old Omar would have said he was joking. This Omar waited for me to make it easy. I didn't. I put the ring on the counter. It made a tiny sound, like a coin falling in church. "Then go," I said, "and take your mother's voice with you." He flinched, but he left. The door closed softly, as if he was worried about my feelings after he had already broken them. That night, I lay on my back and watched streetlight stripes climb my walls. Hala, his mother, had always said I wasn't ambitious enough. My job as an assistant in a real estate firm was cute. My night classes were a hobby. My dreams were unrealistic. I pressed my palms over my eyes until I saw sparks. In the morning, I washed my face in cold water and looked in the mirror. My eyes were puffy, my mouth was set. "You're not too small," I told my reflection. "They just chose a smaller definition of you." I put the ring in a drawer and went to work. Grief sat on my shoulders like a heavy coat, so I made it carry something. I asked for double shifts. I took minutes at meetings. I learned to read floor plans and contracts. I shadowed property managers on weekends just to see how they handled angry tenants and leaky ceilings. I wrote everything down in a cheap notebook with a broken spine. Lena, my childhood friend, showed up with coffee and tough love. "You don't need Omar to open doors," she said. "Kick them. Or build new ones." We turned our tiny living room into a classroom. At night, I practiced pitching fake clients while she timed me and held up note cards. Clarity, cost, calm. The first few tries, I cried halfway through. She handed me tissues and said, "Again." Investors laughed, some softly, some like a show. "You're too young," one said. "You don't have the pedigree," said another. A man in a blue suit smiled and told me to come back, with a husband who understands finance. I went home and circled 3 words in my notebook. Never ask permission. The first win was small. A tired boutique rental with 6 units and bad reviews. The owner looked at me like I was a last idea, not a first choice. 2 months, he said. "If ratings don't climb, you're out." They climbed. I did small things like they were big: fresh paint, soft lamps, firm pillows, a welcome card with the guest's name spelled right. I left umbrellas by the door when it rained. I answered messages at 2 a.m. with a thank you and a fix. Reviews turned into bookings. Bookings turned into cash flow. Other owners called. "Can you do for us what you did for them?" I could. By 28, Lena and I co-founded an app that matched high-end travelers with well-run properties. We built trust into the code. Verified cleaners, verified hosts, verified promises. A small VC wrote the first check. Then a bigger one. My account balance made my stomach flip. Instead of jewelry, I bought land where the city's old mansions had once stood, and the map still whispered their names. I stood on dirt in worn sneakers and saw a house rise where people said nothing would grow. It took years, and 1,000 decisions that felt like tiny cliffs. The mansion rose room by room until it became a world. 200 rooms, a ballroom with a crystal dome, staircases that curved like ribbons, a garden cut into quatrefoils, and fountains that said yes in silver. The press came with cameras and questions. "Self-made," they said. "A palace built from a broken heart?" I walked the halls at night when the workers had gone home. My footsteps echoed. I put my hand on the newel post and felt the cool stone under my palm. I thought of Hala's voice. You'll never be enough for him. The walls answered with quiet light. You were always enough for yourself. That's when I met Karim, the architect who had made my sketches breathe. He didn't flinch at my notes. He didn't compete with my vision. When I said, I want the guest rooms to feel like a promise kept, he nodded and drew it. He brought plants from his mother's patio and tucked them into the corners of the new lobby like blessings. We built by day and walked by night. Sometimes we sat on the unfinished stairs and ate takeout from boxes, our feet dusty, our hands tired. He listened when I spoke about the hard things. He never treated my ambition like an enemy of tenderness. Why don't you rest? He asked once. Because I can see the ending, I said, and I want to arrive there standing. When the last pane of the glass dome went in place, the sky poured itself into it like water. Karim took my hands. Marry me here, he said. Under the ceiling you raised. Yes, I whispered, and the dome held my voice like a secret. Invitations went out. The press, our clients, old friends, new ones. I didn't invite Omar or Hala or anyone who ever told me to be less. The city invited itself anyway. The day of the wedding, the mansion woke with music. Cars curved up the long drive like commas. Photographers clicked. Kids ran. Waiters moved like a quiet tide. Lena wore a suit and a headset and bossed everyone with love. Soft serve smiles, she told the staff. We're serving joy today. I stood under the crystal dome in my dress and felt steady. The walls glowed. The garden sang in green. Karim waited by the arch, so handsome it felt like a trick. That's when Safiya from security touched my elbow. There are 3 people at the gate, she murmured. They say they know you, I looked. Omar stood there in a navy suit that had seen better days. Hala's pearls were missing. Her mouth was tight. Beside them was Rania in a dress with careful seams and tired eyes. News had traveled faster than cars. The market had taken a bite out of Omar's pride, and Rania's fund had drowned in red. They didn't have invitations. They had history. We stepped just outside the ballroom. The door closed behind me. The music softened. Congratulations, Omar said. He tried to smile and failed. You've done well. Hala tilted her chin. We weren't sure if we should come, she said. But we wanted to wish you happiness. Rania's gaze slid over the chandeliers, the marble, the flowers like stars. Her mouth pressed into a line. It's beautiful, she said, and managed to make the word sound like a cut. I kept my hands at my side so they wouldn't shake. You all made your choices, I said. You chose what you thought would keep you warm. So did I. Omar's eyes glossed. I made a mistake. I know, I said. You taught me to live with my mistakes. You can live with yours. Hala tried to pull herself tall. You were always dramatic. No, I said. I just stopped being quiet. Karim appeared in the doorway behind me, a question in his eyes. I stepped back inside and took his arm. The band swelled. The doors closed. The mansion held its breath, then exhaled light. We walked down the aisle under the dome I had raised, and the world narrowed to the man who saw me as an entire sky. The vows were simple. I promised to love him without fear. He promised to guard my peace and cheer for my storms. People cried in that happy way that makes strangers touch their hearts. Lena wiped her eyes and pretended it was dust. We danced under the crystal dome. The floor turned into a map of stars. Guests laughed and clapped and told stories about me that made me blush. The chefs rolled a cake into the ballroom that looked like a small city. The music rose. The mansion shone like it had been waiting its whole life to hear this kind of noise. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement near the garden doors. Omar stood just beyond the glass, with Hala and Rania behind him. They watched as we spun. Their faces were pale, their silhouettes small against the light. I didn't go to them. I didn't need to. My silence made room for my life. Later, fireworks bloomed above the gardens, red, gold, white falling like soft rain. Karim wrapped his jacket around my shoulders, though I wasn't cold. You're free, he whispered. I always was, I said. I just had to remember, he smiled. Let's build more rooms for that feeling. We walked through the halls hand in hand, past the portraits of nothing and everything, guests laughing, staff smiling, chandeliers catching their breath. We checked the little things because the little things keep the big things standing. Bathrooms stocked, candles out, late-night snacks prepped for the last uncle who won't go home. In the kitchen, I found Lena leaning against the counter, shoes off, victory in her hair. She raised a glass of water. To the girl who was not enough, she said. To the woman who never asked again. We clinked. The sound was small and perfect. Before midnight, I slipped away to the balcony off the master suite. The city stretched below like a patient animal. Somewhere out there, people were choosing money over love, fear over courage, silence over truth. Somewhere, a girl was being told she didn't fit. I took off my shoes and stood barefoot on the cool stone. The dome glittered behind me. The gardens breathed. Down in the shadows near the gate, 3 figures turned and left without speaking to security. Their car blinked red twice, then vanished down the long road. I didn't feel triumph. I felt peace. Betrayal had taught me focus. Loss had taught me to build. Love had taught me to stay soft even when steel would be easier. I went back inside. Kareem was asleep on the couch like a child after a long party. I covered him with a blanket and watched his chest rise and fall. My mansion was not a trophy. It was a threshold. I crossed it every time I chose the work over the wound. Hala said I wasn't ambitious. Rania said I wasn't enough. Omar said security lives in a paycheck. I learned security lives in the hands that make a home, the mind that holds a plan, the heart that refuses to trade itself for approval. In the dark, the house hummed. It sounded like a promise kept, and in that quiet, I thanked the girl who let a ring go cold in her hand and chose herself instead. When love chooses money over you, is success the best revenge or is peace stronger? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more family drama stories. See you in the next video.